of you might recognize the copper golem from the 2021 mob vote. And today we will show you how we have reinvented it.
Mojang was serious. The copper update is real and it's in beta and preview for Bedrock right now. If you want to see, well, this is the perfect video for ye, because I'm going to dive into the dozens of new copper items they just added for free before explaining when you can expect to see these in your Minecraft world for real. And so I'll be answering some of your biggest and most important questions, but we'll start with the very biggest of all. How do you make a copper golem? It's the simplest recipe yet. All you need to do is put a carved pumpkin on top of a copper block. This can be a copper block that's fully oxidized, it can be a copper block that's partially oxidized, or it can be a copper block that has no oxidization level whatsoever, and you'll get different copper golems based on this. All of these guys are incredibly cute, and they'll also all immediately, as you can see right here, use the chests that are created underneath them, because unlike the iron golem, where all of those blocks go immediately to waste, some of those blocks are being put right into this very cute guy, but the rest go into the chest underneath him. And so what is the point of the copper chest and the copper golem? The answer is what you can see them doing right now, sorting. That's right, do you have inventory management crises like me? Well, the alley was meant to solve these, but the 2021 mob vote has a much better solution, and it's the copper golem. They will take items that you put inside of their copper chests, and they'll put them inside a regular chest that they see nearby if there is a stack of those items already. They are willing to go up to 8 blocks vertically, as you can see right here, and that will allow us to collect all of these items in one place. But not the green wall, because there's not a correct place for that. I think you want to be down there, buddy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. So speaking of not meaning to hurt them, you can craft these guys using the carved pumpkins, like I've shown you right here, and this will get you a free chest. Or if you're uncreative, you can simply use the spawn egg. Or if you want the chest but you don't want this guy, let's say you find 4 clunky golems to be too much, you can just craft these yourself using this recipe, and if you craft them, you can choose to make double chests, which is a pretty strange thing because you can take a oxidized copper chest and a regular copper chest, and they'll combine to make one copper chest right here. Speaking of weird things, if we find a copper golem, again, I'm not looking forward to doing this, but there's lots of weird tiny bugs that exist right now because it is the first beta, such as if we use a copper sword to attack this golem, then the item that he should have dropped when he dies is not dropped at all, so just keep that in mind. Right now, the copper golem is a very early preview, kind of letting us see what he could look like, and he's super adorable. I love him, but again, it's just a first version. So next up, the other things they've added, because copper golems and copper chests are huge. Genuinely, I can imagine there being all sorts of players who aren't even going to bother putting in the time to, work out exactly what to do with the copper golem, that might just enjoy playing with the copper chest because it looks kind of cool and it makes this great clanky sound. I like that by itself, and if you're that sort of player, you might enjoy all of the new copper tools that have just come today. So these are all of them right here, the new copper items. There are 10 of them, and they're crafted pretty predictably. I think if you look at any one of these, you could probably guess exactly how it's crafted, but just for your benefit, for an example here, if you wanted to craft yourself a copper pickaxe, a brand new tool, you can do it like so. Do you want a copper hoe? Well, just like that. Want a shovel? Wow, look how easy this is. Any copper tool can be crafted very easily, and if you're curious, because I've shown off all this oxidization, how do you get oxidized copper tools? Well, the answer is they don't oxidize like other copper things in the game. I actually had to test this myself, and so here is a copper pickaxe that I've used about 60% of the way through, and here is a fresh copper pickaxe. Can you tell me any difference here? No, because they're identical. Speaking of identical, what is the point of this copper weapon system even existing? Because as you might notice, a copper sword does 5 damage, while a stone sword also does 5. Is copper just more expensive stone? The answer looks like yes on the surface, but the real answer is that it's more enchantable than diamond, which is actually kind of incredible, and it also has more durability than leather, but less than iron. The idea is meant to be it's this perfect middle ground space between stone and iron, which is true for most of these besides the stone sword, which is just a more durable stone sword, and so same damage as stone, but higher durability. That means that all of these copper tools exist to basically bridge the gap between stone and iron, which does kind of fit where you find them in your world. I mean, if we look around right here, you can see within no time that just on the surface, there is copper copper that I can mine and smelt, and I can get myself literally a full set of copper tools from those 2 blocks. And finding iron, on the other hand, has gotten much harder since the Caves and Cliffs update, so this was a logical next step, I would say. Speaking of logical next step, you can obviously smelt copper like before, but you can also smelt your copper tools, and what will you get? Well, the 10th brand new item, if we don't count the copper golem and the copper chest, because this is the copper nugget, and it's actually kind of a big deal. The reason why is because, first of all, you can take your copper ingots and make them into these. Is there a reason to do this? Well, I think it looks kind of cool, and I think that it also opens up the possibilities for more crafting recipes in the future, and also, I mean, you know, don't you like the idea of having litter on your ground? Think about how, look, I got 8 raw copper from mining 2 blocks without fortune. That would be 56, I think even more, 72 separate copper ingot nuggets. And so if you want to cover your world in litter, the copper nugget is there for you. And isn't that beautiful? Also, it's just a great way to recycle your tools. So that is Drop Free 2025. And of course, I'm going to be talking about when it's coming out. But I do also have to talk about another tease they made for this update, because in the same video where they said that yes, it's coming soon to Java Snapshot, they also had this little hint at the end.
Did we place any torches on our way here?
Also, in their WhatsApp teaser yesterday, they had this interesting lack of light sources, which leads many people to believe that if they're directly referencing the 2021 mob vote anyway, maybe they're not just bringing the first loser, the 2nd place mob, but also the 3rd place mob. I think that right now this is a bit of a stretch, but also I would have said yesterday that the copper golem coming was a huge stretch. I almost start to believe that people might have some inside information, and before we talk about my potentially inside information, let's go into big bug fixes and other changes from this preview. So, they changed the glowing text on signs. It's no longer super bright in vibrant visuals. By the way, all the ways you see me showing this off, or you see Minecraft showing it off, it's vibrant visuals now. This is the default way to show things on Bedrock. Also, fixed a multitude of happy gasp bugs. I think that's the simplest way to describe it. They've added spacing between each settings category. That is kind of nice, I guess. And also, leashed mobs in vehicles will now exit if stretched. Leashed mobs in vehicles will exit if stretched. So that means that if we stretch the distance between the mob and the vehicle, well, that sounds kind of fun. Also, we have added void super flat option. This is pretty cool. And probably added more bugs too. There are so many bugs. From killing copper golems to the fact that I'm clearly in a multiplayer game right now. Here is Harrison, who helped build this world, and here is him not appearing in the multiplayer. There are so many bugs in this preview, but that's the point, right? They are showing us the features, they'll work on perfecting them later, but as it stands right now, I kind of like these quite a lot. And so before we go into the big question of when these will be coming out for average players, I want to show you a secret feature that isn't mentioned anywhere on the changelog, because this is the lava chicken disc. Presumably it's not on the changelog because it's coming in a sooner update, but yeah, if not, 1.21.100 is the time where you'll be getting the lava chicken disc. But it's probably not the time you'll be getting the rest of this. Why do I say that? Great question, me. Although, actually, I've got one more thing I'd like to share before we leave this world. Do you remember months ago when we submitted the first version of Boss Blitz, our first add-on as a team? The trial golem was rejected. We weren't allowed to have that golem inside of the game, and the reasons were kind of vague at the time, but now that we see a copper golem in the real game, I mean, it's a very different copper golem, I'm starting to think that the reason they turned us down was because they were actually going to have a copper golem, and they didn't want there to be a confusing second one in an add-on. I don't know for sure. Speaking of not knowing how they did things, I want to talk about how Mojang really knocked it out of the park on this one. They really lowered our expectations by talking about how they're on summer break, how there's not going to be snapshots, and how, indeed, they reminded us of last year, how the autumn drop that year was basically the tiniest one they've ever done. It had literally 2 features, and that had me thinking this was going to be a drop they'd either skip or that would have nothing in it. But then, all of a sudden, what do we see? 10 brand new features, plus arguably 4 copper chests, 4 copper golems. I would say 12 features in total if I'm counting, but 12 brand new features on day 1 of July. There are 2 months left in this drop, and even if they add literally nothing else, they've managed to impress us with the most asked for mob in a very long time, the Copper Golem, as well as Copper Tools, which people have been asking for, and I think I have mixed feelings about how they've delivered, but that's a point for another time. I am amazed at just how quickly this came out of nowhere, and it makes me think that, yeah, the drop system maybe isn't so bad after all. I think this is probably what happens after every drop. We see the drop come out and we're like, well, that could have been bigger, and then, whoa, what's this? A whole nother thing, and that is why the drop system is so good. But you're here to know, when is Drop Free 2025 coming out? Well, presumably 2025, but if you want to know more specifically than that, Minecraft has currently been, for the last 4 drops in a row, on a 3-month rotation for these. So the Winter Awakens, the Garden Awakens, came out in December 2024, then we had the Spring Drop coming out in March 2025, and the Summer Drop in June 2025 too. So that means September 2025 is the most likely date, but drops are new enough that they could entirely mix this up. It could be there's going to be one big drop all the way at the end of the year. It could be they do 5 drops this year. It could be only 3. You know, it's one of those things where we have to keep our eyes peeled, but based on what we know so far, I think September is the most likely answer, and so we should be seeing a new Java snapshot in the next few weeks, and we also should start to see some more tweaks, and those are the things I'm really excited about. This is a game changer, in my opinion, and I hope that you enjoyed joining me for my first impressions. I took my car today to go get it fixed at the mechanic, by the way. The guy was very nice. It went smoother than expected, and literally on the way back home this came out. It blew my mind because I was expecting maybe we'd see one little feature announcement, but we saw 12, and my god, Mojang, this is a happy day for the Minecraft community. Let's see how many more of these we get. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Goodbye.